Next off, we will be talking a bit about a few tricks about working with the window. So we are here at the same file and we have the Home tab. So in the Home tab, we still have two more areas we never talked about, which would be the Cells area and the Editing area. So first off, let's go over the Cells area. And over here you have only one ready to work button. But if we mark any row or column, please note what happens. Actually, we have the insert option and the delete option, and they work as they sound. Basically, when you mark a row and you push the delete button, the row will be deleted. Except if it is at the moment password protected, as we did it before. So as you can see, you are trying to delete a row that contains a locked cell. Locked cells cannot be deleted while the worksheet is protected. So basically what we have to do right now is find the protection tab, push in the button, type in the password, and right now you can see that the Protect Workbook button is gone. So let's go back to Home tab, mark the row, and again delete. Still protected. Basically because what I did before was unprotect the workbook, but still the sheet is protected. And since both of them are separate instances. Okay, so now I can edit it. Let's push the delete, yeah, and you now can see that it works. So basically, going back to the password, what happened was, first off, we had the entire workbook being protected, but also the sheet protection was on. So basically these are separate protections. So if you have both of them on one file, you would have to input both passwords to edit anything on the proper workbook. Okay, going back to the cells. So basically you can delete it. Of course, there are some more options like delete the cells, delete sheet rows, or delete the entire sheet. You basically get the gist. What happens here is if you delete the sheet rows, it deletes the sheet rows. The ones you mark, so maybe let's go a bit down into the bottom. So we mark them, again delete sheet rows, and it will delete all the marked sheet rows. The same thing would happen if we mark the rows, if we mark the columns, so delete, and you see the name already changed to delete cells or delete columns, so just delete sheet columns, and you see that all of the data is gone. But notice one more thing, even though we were deleting the entire column or the worksheet, the alphabetical numbering doesn't change. All we delete is the data inside of them. So basically the alphabet switches back to its place, but anything that was inside these columns from top to the absolute bottom, so the maximum amount that Excel consists of, is deleted instantly. So next off you have the insert button. So let's say you're interested in copying a separate row into a few other places. So let's say you want to copy this row. So let's push Ctrl C. So we can see the entire row right now. If we just go to right, you will see that it goes to almost infinity until it reaches its end. And we can insert instantly. Let's go somewhere down there. Let's say we want it over here. We can use the insert, and you can insert the copied cells or insert sheet rows. So basically we can copy either the cells and insert them this way, or insert the entire row. I'm interested in the row. So first off, you can see that the row is possibly empty, and then we insert the cells. So let's go back, mark it again, Ctrl C, maybe use it Ctrl V, and watch what happens. Now this one is empty right now, and we use the Ctrl V button, and we have all the data we wanted in here. So again, Ctrl Z, insert, copied cells, and you have the data over here, which copies the data in here, but between the selected items. So it will not overwrite, because when you use the Control C, Control V button, it overrides the tab, or it overrides the row you're using currently. But if you use this option, it will, as you can see by the, let's say the picture over here, you actually have the possibility of inserting a extra row in here. This goes the same for deleting cells, because if you simply mark a cell and push delete, this will only delete the items that were inside, but note that it doesn't change anything regarding the styles or even the options, because you can see it's custom over here. Over here it's general, but here we still have a different style. So if you push delete it on your keyboard, this will only delete what is inside. But if we go over here and delete the cells itself, the entire row is gone. And what I mean entire row is the actual number is gone, but it goes up and it's like it was never there. Okay, next off we have the format button, in which we have a few options. First off, you have the cell size with the row height and auto-fit row height. So if you want to mark a row, I showed you many times how to change the width and the height, but you have a few more options. First off, wouldn't it be annoying if you had you would have to mark all of these? So let's say those 300 something rows, and you want to change their height. Well, going one by one, this would take you an hour or two, or a lot of time basically. You can use the format button and use the row height for all of these. You just marked them all, and you want to change the row height to, let's say, 15. And you see what happened, all the rows all at once change their height. Basically, you can do the exact same thing by going over them, right clicking, and over here you have the format cells or the row height. So let's go over row height and you change the number. This is all it does. It's the same for the cells in the columns. So let's go with your right button, column width, and you can change the width, because right now we have different widths between them. So the A column has a different width than the B, C, D, and etc. So basically that's why there is no automated number in here. But if I input a number, it will fit all of those, in a manner I want them to be. Next off, we have in the format, we have the auto-fit row height. Let's push this button and see what happens. Yes, basically this uses the automatic option of fitting all the data into the minimum possible height. It is absolutely possible. So if you mark the entire sheet, oh yes, and I forgot about this button. I showed you how to mark areas this way or this way. There's one button in the left bottom corner which will mark the entire workbook. You can always use the Control A button to mark everything. So Control A basically does exactly the same as this button. But you can, if you have a specific column, sometimes Control A will only work on the workbook data you have in. And this button will do a difference, that it will mark absolutely everything. So when you use this button, again, it marks everything you have. So you might use this for changing the size of text if you have a lot of text, or any type of visual settings. I do not recommend you to do this a lot, but when you have one thing you want to change fast in the entire workbook, well, why not? And just to show you again, Control A marks only everything that is inside your workbook at that time. Okay, great. Next up, you have the column width and autofill column width. Well, basically you have the same thing will happen if you use the autofit column width. So let's push this, and oh sorry, I chose the wrong button. Autofit column width, and you now see that it was fitted automatically. Excel chose the width for me, which would be most proper for this data. So usually it chooses the one cell and measures it to the smallest possible amount of place it can take, and then it shrinks it to that place. So basically, let's undo this because this wasn't really so well seen. We couldn't see everything. So what I want you to do right now is try to redo everything I did by changing the height of each and every column. Maybe try to change the height of this row because this is the most often changed row, I guess, in Excel. Because the title row usually has only the title, so it usually is a bit wider than the rest of it. And use the row height button and see what would be best for it. I'll use the 20 number. It barely moved, but believe me, sometimes even these really small changes matter. Next off, we have the visibility. So you have a different possibility here in Excel. If you want to simply hide a row or you want to hide a column. So you're interested in this data, but let's say not right now, you want this data to be gone, but you don't want to delete it. And you want to do some changes further on, through which you wouldn't want to go back, but you also don't want to save the file in a different file and then copy it because it would take you a lot of time. So Excel allows you to hide rows and columns. Basically, you have by marking any area in the row column, you mark it, then push the right mouse button, use the row height or the height button, and you can see now that it's hidden. So you still see that it's there, but the numbers change. So anything you would do right now, this would make them. So let's say you want to change the color of the backfield. So, oh yeah, one more thing. If you do conditional formatting always overrides any hand-made changes. So you're not allowed to change anything in here unless you undo the conditional formatting. Okay, so basically, if you change anything in these two, when we unhide this area, you will see that everything changed in the other areas also. So basically, remember that when you hide something, it doesn't mean that you're not working with this area. So when you mark an area in between the hidden area, so right now the third row and the 10th row, if you mark them both of them, you actually work on the rows from 3 to 10 in the A column. This is very important because sometimes people work a few hours on one file and suddenly they realize that they had hidden some of the columns and some of the rows. This is sometimes this is very confusing for people when working with hidden columns and rows when you have a lot of them. For example, you could actually hide a lot of rows over here, maybe some over here, and some columns over here. And right now we already have three hidden, two columns, 2 rows hidden. And by trying to mark an area, you have to be very careful because if you go one space below, you actually do changes for more than 2, but not 3. But in this case, you work with 7 different rows. Okay, great. Let's unhide this. Also unhide. Well, let's just undo everything we did. Great. So this is about hiding and unhiding the data cells. What else can we do with the formatting? We have the organizing sheet. So each sheet can be named. You can move or copy a sheet or even give the tab a color. This is what I told you earlier, but this is a good place to talk about it. So basically, you have the source data tab right now, but by double clicking on it, you can change the name to data. Okay, and to change the color, we have to go to Format, Tab Color, and change it, let's say, to blue. Or any other color, really. Yellow, red. You see the color is rather light color. That's because you don't want these tabs to be too intense for your eyes. So that's basically why Microsoft has decided that over here you cannot input hard-on colors and you don't want to mistake this tab with the data inside. Okay, so this is how you change the color and the name of the tab color. What else? You have also the protection. So you have one more option here. You can also lock the cell. So basically, if we go to one cell, we can then lock it. Next off, you have the format cell options. So by pushing the format cell options, you can see that there are many different options you have. We spoke about most of them. You have the numbering, in which in case you have the different options, they are also listed in here, the custom way. Also, you have the cell alignment. Well, I didn't talk yet about this, but I guess we will begin the next lesson with the text alignment because we're out of time today. Just a quick word about this. This allows you to change the alignment of text. So basically, it will be just in a different manner. But to work with this, I will show you some examples in the next lesson. So what I want you to do right now is work with the cell format. We will talk about the editing in the beginning of the next lesson. This will be given in long detail, so don't worry, you will understand what happens in here. We will be also talking a bit about printing, since we haven't spoken yet about this option, and it is very important and very useful. Okay, great. So from my side, that's all. Thank you very much for sticking with me through lesson 12. Well, let's also save this lesson as so desktop. And you want to save this one as lesson 11-12, since we were working on the same file. We want our work to be more comprehensive and more visually acceptable for us to know in which files we work. So what I want you to do is work with these cells, delete some, add some, hide some, and unhide some. What else you can do is use the column width height, also rename the main tab, change its color, and protect the sheet and a few cells. You can also look up the format cells options you have in here. They're basically very easy and really nice for you to check them out. And yeah, and that's all. So thank you very much again, and see you in lesson 13.